Yo, what's up, Facebook and YouTube? It's your boy back again with another episode of Sports Talk with KC. No, this is not live right now. I'm shooting from my house right now. Today we'll be doing a 2021 NFL redraft of this past year's mock draft. Reason why I wanted to do this, first off, because I've never done a redraft before, and I kind of want to test my hand at it, and also we had some rookies this year to play, not like rookies. Like we had Mac Jones, who now a replacement starter in the Pro Bowl. So obviously he played well this season. Jamar Chase led the Cincinnati Bengals in receiving, and also along with Joe Burrow and those cast of great receivers and offensive talent they have to the Super Bowl now. One of the younger teams to do it. Mickey Fitzpatrick, another Pro Bowl selection this season, who played a great, led the Cowboys to be one of the better defenses. Um, Kind of fell in the draft a little bit. Um, just as you can see now from his talent wise, he definitely fell in the draft. So I haven't drafted him much higher. Um, Also, Jalen Waddle set the rookie record for reception. I think he had like 100 receptions, if I'm not mistaken. Um, he has guys like that that should have been drafted way higher or drafted to a different team. Um, but yeah, man, let's get into it. We're gonna break it down. Uh, the first pick, of course, the first pick of the draft this past year was Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Of course, I stuck with him. He kind of did get his fair shot at having a good season this year. Um, Bad coaching by Urban Meyer. Injuries. His running back slash receiver Travis Etienne, who's also the first round pick by the team this year, and also his teammate back in college was hurt this past season, um, as well as offensive line didn't protect him as they should have. So I still have them going with Trevor Lawrence and trying to restart this rebuild and just kind of get the future going. The most important position is quarterback. He's a generational talent. He showed flashes this season of greatness. Of course, he didn't have on full display, as I mentioned, because of injuries and all that, and other 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 things going on in that organization. Hopefully, he gets a good head coach. Earlier, I heard that they're looking at Doug Peterson, former coach of the um, Philadelphia Eagles, who's a former quarterback in NFL, who knows the ropes of being a coordinator, also as being an NFL quarterback and a head coach. So hopefully he gets better coaching from one of the guys who come in and change the system. I'm hoping for Brian Leftwich, who played quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who's now the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who just possibly lost their quarterback Tom Brady. So maybe he view Trevor Lawrence as the next quarterback, as the next Tom Brady, that he can coach along and take the Super Bowl. With the second overall pick, I have the New York Jets selecting another quarterback. This time, I have them selecting Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields instead of Zach Wilson, only because I feel like Justin Fields it was always that number two or number one in this class. Of course, Trevor Lawrence has the national championship under his belt. He played at Clemson, played in multiple college football playoffs, had all the weapons or whatever in the world. But Justin Fields took his team to extra national championship game against the very talented Alabama football team um, that the year before. Um, but yeah, I've always viewed him as the second quarterback in this class. Zach Wilson, he did grow on me eventually, of course, throughout the season. His last season at BYU, he is my third or fourth best quarterback in this class. Um, Only because Justin has always been the second guy. Very dynamic playmaker with his legs. Also can throw the ball downfield. Um, I think the Jets might have more weapons than what Chicago had. I know it was a bit of a down year for Allen Robinson. I know um, Darrell Moody came on for him later on throughout the season. Him kind of got a report, but I think a guy like Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, um, if he isn't redrafted in this draft that I'm doing now, and guys like that, Michael Carter in the backfield, guys like that would be better receivers and talent for Justin Fields, and possibly a better offensive line. They did draft Elijah Vera Tucker in this draft. Of course, they have big boy Makai Becton. So I'm taking Justin Fields here. Number three, I have the San Francisco 49ers also changing their quarterback. Instead of going with um, North Dakota State's quarterback Trey Lance, I have them going with Alabama quarterback Mac Jones, only because I view Mac Jones as I watched him play for the Patriots more pro ready. He did get the start beginning of the season. They released Cam Newton right before the season started to make Mac Jones the full time starter. Um, some may say I'm being a homer with this pick, but I really view Mac Jones as the most pro ready quarterback in this draft class. Of course, he played at Alabama, who sends a bunch of guys to the NFL, get the NFL style coaching from Nick Saban. But Mac Jones, I think he could have elevated the 49ers. They did lose this past weekend to the division rival Los Angeles Rams. Um, I think a lot of it was because of the way Jimmy G played. Um, of course, he had Debo Samuels and Trent Williams at left tackle, George Kittle at tight end, guys like that. At his disposal, I think he would be a better fit than Trey Lance would be at this point in time. A team that's kind of already Super Bowl ready, who could, with a guy like Mac Jones, might have made that next step. Mac Jones is now a replacement starter in the Pro Bowl this season, so it's proof in the pudding. At number four, the Atlanta Falcons. I have them taking LSU receiver Jamar Chase. Yes, this pick might derail the Bengals' Super Bowl run, but I do see um, now that the Falcons have, I'm looking at it from a perspective of I already know how the season panned out. They didn't have Calvin Ridley. Um, uh, Kyle Pitts didn't catch on till middle of the season. Jamar Chase, as soon as he stepped in Cincinnati, he was the man at receiver. Of course, they had T. Higgins from the year before from Clemson. Also, Tyler Boyd. They had Joe Mixon in the backfield. Joe Burrow, his quarterback Joe Burrow, of course, was there. But Jamar Chase to the Falcons would definitely be a great replacement for Calvin Ridley. Hopefully, he comes back from mental his mental health leave, in great shape, and him and Jamar Chase will be a great 1-2 punch at receiver for Matt Ryan or whoever play quarterback for them in the future. Um, and if they did decide to move on from Calvin Ridley after this season, a guy like Jamar Chase will make that decision a little easier. Um, I mentioned he was a Pro Bowler this season. With the number 5 pick, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of people wanted them the Cincinnati Bengals going with Northwestern offensive tackle Rashawn Slater, who also was a voted into the Pro Bowl this season. Actually, the Pro Bowl starter. Um, this season handled. I think he graded out as the highest graded offensive tackle in the entire AFC, not just his division, not just in his rookie class, but definitely the best left tackle in the whole entire AFC. Um, a lot of people wanted them to draft Oregon offensive tackle Penei Sewell instead of Jamar Chase and putting him back with his old college quarterback and protecting Joe Burrow. And with Jamar Chase being gone, of course, I couldn't take him. And seeing the way they played against Tennessee a couple weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, in the divisional round of the playoffs, Joe Burrow being sacked 9 times, being hit multiple times. Uh, a guy like Rashawn Slater would have definitely helped out in that regard. With number 6, the Miami Dolphins still drafting. I have them still drafting Alabama receiver Jalen Waddle. Of course, a guy like um, Micah Parsons is still on the board. Um, Tight end like Kyle Pitts still on the board. Devontae Smith, his former Tua's former receiver, Devontae Smith is still on the board. But I still have drafting Jalen Waddle. He kind of fits that mold of a, just get the ball in his hand type of playmaker, receiving wise, running back wise, running the ball wise, returning the ball. Had I think over either right at 100 receptions or a little bit under that on the season to take the rookie record for most receptions by a rookie receiver. And so I'm keeping him at this pick. Um, Number 7, I have the Detroit Lions selecting Penn State linebacker Micah Parsons. Like I just mentioned, he is a Pro Bowl linebacker this season, um, as well as one of the leaders on that defense for the Cowboys this past season. As a rookie, man, had great stats. Was all over the field. Played some DN, some middle linebackers, some outside linebacker, dropped in coverage. He was just all over the field for the Dallas Cowboys this season, and a team like the Detroit Lions would love to have a player like this who they have struggled to just find playmakers on both sides of the ball, and a guy on defense like that that can make plays could definitely lessen some of those scores and and push the team to the future. Um, Put the defense to the future. A guy like uh, their coach who's coming from that New England style would find a spot for Micah Parsons this season. With number 8 pick, I have the Carolina Panthers drafting North Dakota State's quarterback Trey Lance. Um, Y'all probably look at me like, why not stick with J.C. Horn, who didn't have a bad season? Well, not like I mentioned, I'm doing this from the perspective of I know how the season happened. They traded for Stephon Gilmore, um, a cornerback who's another Pro Bowl alternate, who's been the top corner in the league for the last 6, 7 years, you could say. Um, so they go. Hopefully, they still make that trade. They do have Sam Darnold, who they traded for a couple weeks before the draft. Um, he can sit behind him and learn a little bit. And if it's time for them to make a change, they can go to Trey Lance. They did pick up Cam Newton after injuries to Sam Darnold. So another veteran leader like Cam Newton could definitely mature a guy like Trey Lance, who kind of in that mode of Cam Newton, big quarterback, big mobile quarterback at that, who can really run the ball with his legs, make some plays with his legs. So he is another added dimension. And then year 2, let him loose, man. Give him the keys. He has some great receivers and DJ Moore as well as Robbie Anderson. Of course, they have Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. He did get hurt, but we did get to see Chuba Hubbard, a guy who definitely should have went higher than what he did. From Oklahoma State, was one of the better running backs coming out of college, one of the top rushes the year before. So Carolina would have a big decision on their hands to make. With the number 9 pick, I have the Denver Broncos sticking with that same pick. Patrick Surtain II from Alabama had a great rookie season. Shut down his side. Shut down his side. Played against the best receiver across from him. Him and Kyle Fuller has been a great 1-2 punch. There was some considerations for a guy like Zach Wilson, who went number 2. But reason why I didn't go with Zach Wilson, I feel like he would have got a better value for him later in the draft, And at number 9, a guy like Patrick Surtain, who we know will probably be one of the safer picks in this draft. A team like the Denver Broncos can't continue to pick possible draft busts. Not saying that Zach Wilson gonna be a draft bust, but the safer pick would have been Patrick Peterson, number 10. Probably a surprise pick would be the Dallas Cowboys selecting Florida tight end Kyle Pitts. They already have CeeDee Lamb. They have Amari Cooper. They have Dak Prescott, a quarterback who had just signed a new deal. Zeke Elliott, who this season had a great season coming back. A lot of people did not expect him to have a great season as he did. Of course, his number 2 back, Pollard, Tony Pollard, had a great season as well. Great 1-2 punch, and to just round out that offense, Kyle Pitts would be exactly what they need. They can go 3-4 wide with him. You know what I'm saying? Michael Gallup, Coop, CD, Pitts, four wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Maybe some 5 wide. With Wilson as well, a receiver. So definitely would have been make that offense a little more dynamic. Of course, losing a guy like Michael Parsons to Detroit a few picks ago would hurt that defense. But they did draft uh, Jabril Cox from LSU a few rounds later, as well as some other linebackers on the board like Nick Bolton, who got drafted by the Chiefs in the second round, as well as Jamon Davis, who I don't have going in the first round, as you will see later, who was picked by the Redskins. He's obviously would have been a great pick and linebacker in the second round. So we can save that pick for the later time. With the number 11 pick, I have the New England, the New York Giants selecting Alabama receiver Devontae Smith. They did end up trading back and drafting Florida receiver Kadarius Toney. He had a solid season. It took him a minute to catch on. Of course, Daniel Jones had his struggles. Um, Saquon Barkley couldn't stay healthy, and when he did play, he didn't get the holes he wanted to run through, so he could get those yards. Um, but I think Devontae Smith uh, would definitely help out that offense, help out a guy like Daniel Jones who struggled to really take hold of that quarterback positions for the Giants. Um, and it's be believable to the point right now they're saying he's a bust, but a guy like Devontae Smith, who you add into a receiver room with a guy like Kenny Galladay, who was the best free agent receiver coming to this season, Sterling Shepard, a guy you're developing, and Darius Slayton. Of course, you have Evan Ingram at tight end, so Devontae Smith is a big time playmaker. I'm not saying he's OBJ at all, but he does have a big play ability like the OBJ, a former Giants receiver. At number 12, I have the Philadelphia Eagles selecting Oregon offensive tackle Penei Sewell. Reason for this pick is simply because Andrew Dillard, it seemed like he was always on a trade block. A guy from Washington State who hasn't really caught on like they wanted, especially with his draft status, being a former first round pick. I think a guy like Oregon's Penei Sewell could definitely make that decision a little easier. Possibly moving Dillard inside, maybe playing tackle in the NFL is not his thing. Of course, you have Lane Johnson on the right side, plug and play. Penei Sewell protect Jalen Hurts. Um, Maybe get another receiver in a second. Devontae Smith just got drafted by the Giants. Um, so uh, that would be a solid pick for the Eagles. Um, with the number 13 pick, I have the um, Los Angeles Chargers selecting South Carolina cornerback J.C. Horn. They missed out on Rashawn Slater as well as Panay Sewell, who just got drafted to the pick before them. Of course, Christian Durasol is still on the board, but I can see them possibly drafting a tackle in a second, like Tevin Jenkins, who went to eventually went in the second round to the Bears. Um, but yes, South Carolina cornerback J.C. Horn was the top um, cornerback on most people's boards last season. Was a a big time riser. Um, had a great season um, for South Carolina. His last season was a ball hawk, son of former NFL receiver Joe Horn. They did the Chargers did draft Asante Samuel Jr. in the second round, but go ahead and get that cornerback in the first round, and then later on worrying about getting the offensive line together in the second round could possibly um, make them a better team because J.C. Horn is obviously one of the better young corners in the league. Speaking of Christian Durasol having fallen to the team, he's the same team he got drafted by Minnesota Vikings at 14. Who in this draft, I'm not doing any draft day trades. I have them sticking with their 14th pick and drafting Christian Durasol out of Virginia Tech. Um, with number 15 pick, I have New England Patriots selecting BYU quarterback Zach Wilson. Um, this isn't the traditional New England pick. I think if they were picking in this spot and Zach Wilson's still on the board, they may or may not draft this pick. But in my world, I would definitely pull the trigger. Obviously, Cam Newton did get released at the beginning of the season to allow Mac Jones to start. Maybe they make the same decision. Maybe they don't. Maybe they keep Cam around for the first few games and help mature Zach Wilson and bring him along slowly. But Zach Wilson will bring a different dynamic to what New England used to. They used to the in the pocket, pass first type of quarterback. Of course, they had Tom Brady for multiple years. This past season, they had Mac Jones, who's a Pro Bowler. But Zach Wilson, with things he can do with his legs, his improvising skills, reminiscent of like a Pat Mahomes or Johnny Manziel, um, would definitely bring a different element to the what the New England Patriots are used to. Now this is the pick I wanted to happen for the Cardinals. Um, what was they ended up drafting Tulsa linebacker Jack Javion Collins. Um, he so flashy this season, but with them drafting Isaiah Simmons in the year before, I don't really see a need for drafting Xavier Collins in a position. I think a position like a running back, which I have them drafting Najee Harris in this position, will be better value for their offense. Their running backs have dealt with injury all season. Chase Edmonds as well as James Conner, who both showed flashes when they were healthy to be their back. But a workhorse like Najee Harris in the backfield would definitely help out Kyler Murray and his development. Um, you know, they obviously have the receivers. AJ Green had a rejuvenated season after people called him washed, too old to be one of the top receivers, but he had a great season. Obviously, D Hop had an up and down season when he wasn't lined up. He played great, obviously, but he did deal with some injuries. Christian Kirk, a speedster on the outside. Um, but yeah, Najee Harris would definitely round out that that Arizona offense, and maybe they do make the playoffs this season. Maybe they do go far in the playoffs on the on the back of Najee Harris. It does limited with limited Kyler Murray's having to throw the ball 40, 50 times a game. You have a guy like Najee Harris you can give the ball to 30 plus times. Um, Similar to his to the guy who he succeeded in Derrick Henry at Alabama. So definitely will help them out. At number 17 pick, I have the Las Vegas Raiders selecting Florida receiver Kadarius Toney, who in real life was drafted a few picks later at 20 by the New York Giants. But this pick, I have the Las Vegas Raiders selecting him. Of course, they have Hunter Renfro in a slot. A guy like Kadarius Toney could take over that spot for Henry Ruggs, who, of course, had that tragic accident um, during the season, and who's no longer with their team. He could definitely take over the production for him. Um, with number 18 pick, I had the Miami Dolphins selecting Miami defensive end Jalen Phillips, a guy who they actually drafted in this spot. Um, um, Jalen, obviously he's a local kid out of Miami, who can who some consider maybe a 1 year wonder, but turns out he's not. He had a great season for Miami this past season. Miami Dolphins this past season. So he wasn't a 1 year wonder. He did get that label because he did have a guy like Greg Russo, who I'll be drafting later on in this draft, ahead of him. And when he did sit out during the COVID season, he was able to Jalen was able to show his skill and show that he has just as good as he is, and actually got drafted higher than he did. So um, with the number 19 pick, I had the Washington football team selecting USC guard Elijah Vera Tucker. This is more of a value pick, one of the better players available right now. Um, they missed out on a few tackles they could have picked in this position. All the quarterbacks off the top quarterbacks off the board. Um, John Davis, he didn't do it for me. He didn't move the needle for me to where to say he deserved his draft position. Um, and so drafting a guy like a safe pick like USC's Elijah Vera Tucker, you already have Brandon Sheriff. Why not get a guy on the other side who can help protect whoever's playing quarterback now? Uh, as of right now, Taylor Heineke or whoever playing for him in the future, possibly drafting a quarterback in this year's draft or going to free agency. But they definitely need to protect whoever they're playing. At quarterback, obviously they have some great offensive weapons. They have Terry McLaurin at receiver, um, as well as Antonio Gibson at running back. So protect the quarterback, get the run game, continue to get the run game going. At number 20, I have the Chicago Bears selecting Oklahoma center Creed Humphrey, who came on strong for the Chiefs when they made their big run towards the end of the season, along with another guy I'll be drafting later on, guard Trey Smith, two rookie offensive linemen who played great for the Chiefs. Um, and help them go on. Like I mentioned, help them go on a run. The Bears have so many holes, so drafting a center at this position would not hurt them at all. Um, I have the Colts, who's the Indianapolis Colts, keeping their pick as well. And Michigan defensive edge rusher Quiddy Pay. I don't know who coaching the Michigan Wolverines D line, but whoever it is a great coach. They seem to put out D linemen every year as of late. The year before this, they had Rashad Gary, who got drafted by the Packers in the late first round last the year before last. Quiddy Pay. They got two potential first rounders and Aiden Hutchinson as well as David Ajabo. This season, of course, Aiden Hutchinson had exploded on the scene this season. Was a Heisman candidate. So um, David Ajabo, and so it was definitely will help the Colts drafting a guy like Quiddy Pay again, who had a solid season for them. Of course, they missing Justin Houston, who played many years for the Chiefs, who didn't get picked up again by the Colts, and so he got placed in a position to replace Justin Houston, and did a very great job this past season. Like I mentioned earlier, Trey Smith had a great season for the Chiefs, helped them go on that run. Um, Helped them go on that fabulous run into the playoffs. A lot of people counting them out. But yeah, Trey Smith along with Creed Humphreys, as well as a guy they traded for, Orlando Brown from the Ravens. Um, helped block for Pat Mahomes, and were able to get the ball out. Definitely, Trey Smith will help block for in this universe, Justin Fields, help him with his development. Number 24 pick, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Still going with another running back, but this time I have them going with North Carolina running back Javante Smith, who had a great season for the Denver Broncos. Was actually one of my fantasy running backs who had provided me with steady 10, 12, 15 points each and every week, and so it was a great replacement when guys like Saquon Barkley went down or Derrick Henry, who missed the last bit of the season. Um, yeah, man, just he split carries with Melvin Gordon, but I think this season coming up, the backfield is probably all his. He showed that he's had the ability to be the number one back in that backfield. But number 25th pick, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting that real receiver, not moving, drafting um, Clemson running back Travis Etienne and making him a running back. I have him drafting a legit receiver, um, and Ole Miss receiver Elijah Moore. Again, another team, Ole Miss, another team that who seem to produce first rounders, or just Pro Bowl guys who make it to the NFL at certain positions. Um, Ole Miss is as of late, they have produced AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, and now Elijah Moore, who played great for the New York Jets this past season, who's looking like their great number two for them, alongside Corey Davis and Braxton Berrios. And so a guy like Elijah Moore would definitely help Trevor Lawrence. Of course, he has a guy like DJ Chalk on the outside, um, as well as James Robinson in the backfield. So more weapons you give to Trevor Lawrence, the better. Number 26 pick, I have the Cleveland Browns selecting Northwestern cornerback Greg Newsom the second. Another pick that I just left the same. Too good to pass up. Played great this season. Held off Greedy Williams for the number two corner spot next to um, Denzel Ward. So Greg Newsom the second, uh, back again with the Browns. With 27 pick, I have the Baltimore Ravens selecting edge rusher from Penn State, Jason Owe, who was a great pick for them this past season. Came on strong towards the end when they started to get healthy. Um, I know Lamar Jackson probably love a offensive lineman in this position. I don't see any offensive lineman worthy of getting drafted this spot. Um, Cause obviously he got hurt, went down, and they had to rely on Tyler Henley. So drafting drafting a guy like Jason Owe again, and having him coming off the edge, replacing Matt Judon, who they lost the year before to New England Patriots, um, would definitely help their defense come along, and who helped their defense come along and be better. Of course, they're getting older each and every year, so adding young pieces would definitely help. Um, with 28 overall pick, I have the New Orleans Saints drafting Alabama Alabama defense tackle Christian Balmore. Sheldon Rankins has played well during his time with the Saints, but I do see them maybe upgrading their position a little more. Um, Christian Balmore played great for the New England Patriots. They did draft in real life. They did draft Peyton Turner out of Houston, a guy who hasn't lived up to the hype or his draft status at the moment. So drafting Christian Balmore, maybe you can get a guy, the same guy, and Peyton Turner in a second, and maybe get better value for him. But a guy like Christian Balmore, who should have been drafted in the first round in my eyes. If you look back at my last year's mock draft battle against one of my friends, Will Anderson, I had him going to the Buffalo Bills um, and playing alongside Ed Oliver. Um, but yeah, man, uh, the Saints taking Balmore would be a great pick for them. With the 29th pick, I finally get Aaron Rodgers a second receiver, and uh, Minnesota receiver Rashawn Bateman. Um, there's been a lot of speculations of whether Aaron Rodgers will return this season, and one of his biggest issues, like he mentioned, was the culture, as well as some personnel. Of course, he did get his guy Randall Cobb back. They did draft Amari Rogers, who was more of a special teamer guy, kickoff return, punt return, but a legit number two on the outside for them. And Rashad Bateman would definitely help out Devontae Smith, Devontae Adams. Um, will help out Devontae Adams on the other side, the number one, and then Bateman as the number two with Randall Cobb in the slot these last couple of years of his career. And so, and then of course you got Aaron Jones in the backfield, David Bakhtiari leading the offensive line. So maybe they make a Super Bowl run. They were one of the better. They were actually the number one overall team in the NFL going into the playoffs, and for them losing first round the way it did, was definitely disappointing. Uh, with them 30th pick, I had the Buffalo Bills selecting Penn State tight end Pat Fairmouth, who had a great season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Him and Najee Harris, guy who slid to the second round. I almost say slid, but probably was deserving of a first round pick, at least a late first round pick. Played great. Dawson Knox played well for them, but I think they could have upgraded their position a little better. Like obviously they have Stephon Diggs, they have Emmanuel Sanders at receiver, Zach Moss, as well as Devin Singletary at running back. So giving Josh Allen playmaking and tight end like Pat would definitely could have helped them over the hump this past season. They did lose again to the Chiefs in the playoff, which is very disappointing. So maybe Pat makes a bigger difference, give Josh another weapon. Speaking of Kansas City Chiefs, I have them selecting Illinois cornerback Nate Hobbs. Um, they haven't had a ball hawking cornerback in a very long time, since the days of Marcus Peters. And in the Super Bowl that they lost last season, they were exposed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that receiving core. So adding a guy like Illinois cornerback Nate Hobbs would have helped. And he played great for his actual team, the Las Vegas Raiders. Had a few picks on the season, shut his side down, helped a struggling defense be better than what they actually was. So Nate Hobbs is the pick here. And then with the last pick, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Miami defensive end Gregory Rousseau, a guy who set out the COVID season to prepare for the NFL. Made a great decision. Was actually drafted by the Buffalo Bills. Had a solid season for them. Right now, he's more of a situational pass rusher, and I would definitely keep him in that same role as Jaden Pierre-Paul continues to age, but play at a high level. Um, Eventually, probably could waive him or uh, trade Pierre-Paul eventually to one of those other contenders who think they're a pass rusher away, and you still have Gregor Russo to to replace him. So yeah, Gregor Russo, pass rush specialist out of Miami, to the Buccaneers at the end of the draft. Oh, yeah, and that was my 2021 NFL redraft. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe to Titletown TV. Um, of course, be on the lookout for the merch as always. The many social sites: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Titletown TV, as well as Sports Talk with KC. Um, I'm gonna do another quick run through of the draft so you guys could see what I've done. If you think you have a better redraft, please drop it in the comments, or uh, you know, hit me up, and maybe we can do a mock draft battle redraft for the last year's, and we can kind of compare who y'all thought was the right picks for these teams. Of course, Trevor Lawrence at one, Bills at two, Jones at three, Chase at four, Slater at five, Waddle at six, um, Parsons at seven, Trey Lance at eight, Sertan at nine, Pitts at 10, Devontae Smith at 11, uh, Panay Sewell at 12, J.C. Horn at 13 to the Chargers, Vikings taking Durasol, Zach Wilson to the Patriots, Najee Harris to Arizona, um Kadarius Toney to the Raiders, Jalen Phillips to the Dolphins, Vera Tucker to Washington, Humphreys to the Bears. Oh, sorry. The Colts taking Quiddy Pay. Um, Asante Samuel Jr. to the Titans. Trey Smith to the Jets. Um, Javante Williams to the Steelers. Elijah Moore to the Jags. Browns taking uh, Newsom to second. Jason Oweh to the Ravens. The Saints taking Christian Balmore. Rashad Bateman to the Packers. Pat Firemouth to the Bills. Cornerback Hobbs to the Chiefs. And last but not least, Gregor Russo to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. Like I mentioned before, please like, share, and subscribe to Titletown TV. Please comment on this video. Uh, Share your thoughts. Give me some video ideas. Um, for me, it is draft season. So I will be putting out mock drafts, doing mock draft battle with some friends, going over the playoffs, Super Bowl preview. We got the Rams versus the Bengals. So yeah, man. Please hit me up for any ideas y'all want to be on the show. Please hit me up at Karan Twin Cadell on Facebook, Karan Cadell on Instagram, Twitter, Titletown KC. Um, and this was the 2021 NFL redraft. I'm your boy as always, Karan uh, Cadell, aka KC. I will see you guys Wednesday night with Sports Talk with KC live